Morning folks, I just wanted to record a brief video for you this morning. I know that many of you have woken up and have got lots and lots of questions for us as HR consultants about the news announced last night. And we have lots of questions too. So we've woke up this morning with a new F word, the word furlough. So I thought I'd record a little video for you to explain, I suppose, a summary of what we don't know is really the purpose of this video, to explain to you that you are going to have to be patient and your staff are going to have to be patient, because we don't know all the answers as of Saturday morning that we might like to know. But what we've got is what we've got. So we have got obviously the COVID-19 support for business. If you just go onto Google and put COVID-19 support for business, this page will appear. And this is the notes to accompany what the Chancellor said last night. So we were told, weren't we, at 5 o'clock on Friday evening, that the Chancellor has set out a package of help. And this includes all of these measures. So obviously the coronavirus job retention scheme, which is what we're going to talk about today. And then obviously we've got the fact that they're going to defer VAT. I know that that's not really something of interest to the early years sector, and income tax payments, which are. And obviously we know a bit more about the statutory sick pay relief scheme anyway. That we do know has already been put out. And obviously that information was all something we already knew in the week. Business loans, business interruption loan scheme, grant funding for small businesses, which obviously you would fall under. And obviously things about mortgages and rents and all sorts of things that they were actually basically gave us information on. So the one we're really interested in is these notes, and there isn't a lot here, as you can see. So the government announced that there would be support for businesses for what they're calling the coronavirus job retention scheme. All employers, and that's important, all UK employers, small, medium, large, huge, they'll all be able to access support to continue paying part of their employees' salary for those employees that would otherwise be laid off during this crisis. So if you're a self-employed employer, this scheme is for you. If you're a charity, this scheme is for you. If you're a limited company with staff, this scheme is for you. So it would be applicable, it would appear, to the vast majority of early years employers who will be on this group and other groups. So how we're going to access the scheme. So we put notes further down, got eligibility everybody. Employers will need to designate affected employees using this new term, furloughed worker, and notify your employees of this change. Changing the status of the employees remains subject to existing employment law, and depending on the employment contract may be subject to negotiation. Now, to me as a HR consultant, that sounds like you can only do that if people have the layoff clause in their contract. We need more information on this, government, because not everyone will have the layoff clause in their contract. And I'm sure they don't mean for it to be a narrow band of people who've got this layoff clause in their contract, because furloughed workers, what they're calling furloughed workers, is not going to be what we call people who are laid off. And I'll explain a bit more about that a little bit later. So they basically have to be agree to be given a new designation, of furloughed worker. They have to, the employer has to submit information to the HMRC about the employees that they have furloughed. So this is past tense, not future tense, and their earnings, that could be lots of things to lots of people, through an online portal that the HMRC haven't set up yet. Okay, and HMRC apparently are going to set out further details on the information required. You can imagine this is, so open to fraud, so open to abuse, isn't it? And the HMRC, we've known for years, know everything about us, don't they? They know how, with real-time reporting, they know our real-time information, they know obviously our national insurance number, they know what benefits we've had, all should be joined up. But ultimately, I can only assume that people's names and national insurance numbers is going to be earnings is going to be the minimum amount of information that they're going to need. There's probably going to be a lot more to try and prevent fraud and abuse of this system. And what the government has said is that the HMRC will reimburse 80% of a furloughed worker's wage costs, up to a maximum of £2,500 per month. And they're urgently working to work out a system in order for that to happen, because there is no current system to enable HMRC to facilitate those payments to employers. Why would there be? There hadn't been this problem before. So, this is the guidance you need to be looking at. It may well change again on Monday morning. This is what it looks like on the 20th of March. And, that's what you need to be looking at, guys. I can't circle it, but that's the bit, that's when it's last updated. Check to make sure you're not looking at out-of-date information, and check this page regularly, because I'm sure that this is what they're going to do. They're going to update this next. We don't have any legislation to enable us to furlough a worker. We don't have, anything to say what this means. We know that you're going to have to designate people, and we know that they've made up a term. Furloughed workers is, I know people say, well, the word furlough is an American word and but in this context, there is nothing to tell us what furloughed workers means. And I can't stress that enough, because there'll be a lot of, speculation this weekend. People will be speculating that, it's going to mean this and it's going to mean this, and we're going to need to be able to do this and we will be able to do that. You just don't know, folks. I can't stress that enough. We just don't know. They're going to have to put emergency legislation through, because the emergency COVID-19 legislation that we do know a little bit about doesn't feature any of this shit. This is all new. So they're going to need to put through emergency legislation, new statutes to explain what we must do and how it must be done. And we haven't got that as now. They could have called them furloughed workers. They could have called them people sitting at home workers. They could have called it, sat in your PJs with your crisps workers. They really could have picked any term. The furloughness of this means nothing. So please don't get caught up in trying to work out how the Americans use the term, because, it really won't be helpful. We just really do not know what it means. It appears to mean that they should have to stay at home and do no work, but we don't know that. We need that detail. We know that there'll be nothing in the employment contracts of staff to say that they can be furloughed. So we're going to need to get them to agree and sign, a form to say they agree to this status of being a furloughed worker. And why wouldn't you? Your options are redundancy on the one side, and obviously, if you're under 2 years service, that's no statutory redundancy payment. Being laid off in the middle, which, as we know, is £29 a day for up to 5 days, and as of April, £30 a day for up to 5 days. And then on the right-hand side, we've now got this notion of being receiving 80% of your salary. Well, I can't even say it's salary, because it could be average wages if you're atypical. We just don't know. So it's all very ambiguous. And, we do, I recognise that this is a lifeline, but the devil is going to be in the detail. We don't know whether it includes the national insurance contributions that employers make. We don't know whether it includes your pension contributions. We don't know whether it's for basic salary or for people who've done overtime recently who would be classed as atypical. We don't know if we're going to have to work out an average. There's so much we just don't know. We need some effing detail, I think is the best way I would describe it. And we're not going to get that detail until early next week. I know many of you are saying on the scheme, but what about nurseries? We are on the scheme, on the page in the group. What about nurseries? We've been asked to stay open, and we've tried our hardest to give people work by staying open in order to serve vulnerable children and the children of key workers. And I get that, there is perhaps a lot of speculation about how you could be furloughed one week and not furloughed the other. I just don't know, folks, whether you're going to be able to do that. I just don't know whether some bright spark out there is thinking that they'll furlough all their staff and then get them to come to work and get the government to boost their payroll account. I don't know that some people aren't thinking, great, I'm furloughed, I'm getting 80% of my wage from my employer, but I can go and take a job with Tesco's as a stacker because they're looking for people. I just don't know that we are ready for this massive announcement and ready for what we need to answer. I just think, you know, we need the detail and we need it really quickly. I think that has really more vague than ever, doesn't it? I suspect that, you know, you have a very motivated, very loyal workforce who want to serve those vulnerable children, who want to do the right thing by key workers. They're the real heroes in all of this, aren't they? Nurses and doctors who are in the front line. You know, we owe them all you know, a massive thank you for what they're doing, and you want to serve those, and your staff will do. And so if they are lucky enough not to be furloughed, and I'm going to put it that way, lucky enough not to be laid off in that sense, lucky enough to be in work, and to obviously be paid their wages as normal, to be looking after those people's children, then I'd like to think that's what people will do, and they won't be, if you like, speculating that they might be better off sat at home with 80% of their wages. I just don't know, folks. But I wanted to come on Saturday morning. Do you know what? The sky is not too bad. My bunnies are on the lawn. My son's home now from school after GCSEs. And the real trauma of it all, I discovered on Thursday night, and I think I need a lot of love off you guys when you see this video. My hair colour is made in Italy. Do I need to say any more? So, you know, it's, you know, we're okay. We're going to be okay. We will be okay. Anyway, catch you all next Monday. Bye.